The last video I put out about this mini food forest, I left out some valuable information, and I'm going to show you. Actually, a lot of the stuff that we sped up through, if you go back to that last video on the food forest, I actually talked about some of the things that I was witnessing while we were actually establishing the food forest and where we was going to put it. One thing you'll see in this video is I talked about letting more sunlight in. With having an evergreen canopy, one thing you run the risk, if your sunlight comes over the top of the tree, you're not going to get the right amount of sunlight. We're fortunate that our sun actually comes over the back part of the yard, which it would actually bring it in right here where you see this this whole little stretch right here. This is actually where we're going to get most of our sun. And so what I'm going to do is, I talked about it in the video, that I'm going to cut out just this bottom edge of this tree to let all of that sunlight come through while still keeping that great canopy. Let me show you how. Still keeping all this top layer here. That's going to be all the canopy layer. Just this right here I want to cut out. Just this along here. And that's going to allow that light to come in. They do grow a little bit slower under the canopy, but I think that's because if you see on this side, my sun comes in that way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out those limbs, not far back this way, but more so just a little bit of area right here where you see that sun coming through, that light coming through. I'm gonna cut that out, and that way I'm gonna be able to get some sun to come through. But over the top, let me lean this back. Over the top, it's winter right now. I'm still gonna have that canopy thing. If you remember, Bells was cutting the trees out on this side, and I'm telling you, as soon as she cut those trees out, I felt the air come through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I wanted to do that. All right, so this is it. This is about all the footprint that I want. When Beverly took out this shrub, bush, whatever it was that was right here, felt like I felt a little wind coming through, so that might mess with some of my protection until my trees get a little bit bigger. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to just take out more of this that's right here, but what's on the other side of this tree that's blocking the wind, I'll let that stay for a few years so it can give me that protection from that north wind. And we'll just start basically right here, and like I said, my sun comes right there, so that should give us plenty of space to start in. Like I said, we got a lot of other stuff going on around the yard, so this is going to be more of just a project. So I think that's it for now. So that's something for you to think about. And then as I got into the comments of that video, there were a few people that talked about those two particular things. One person said, be careful, because if you cut out too much of the trees, you're gonna run the risk of letting too much wind in, and you're gonna lose that windbreak that you may need and that may benefit your food forest. So he said, you know, wait till your trees get a little bit bigger and more established before you start cutting out some of your windbreak. And I was like, I shouldn't have cut that out the video, but I was trying to keep the video, you know how you try to keep the video as short as you can, but I left that out. And that's the reason, I'll bring you over here, that's the reason why I actually, while I was doing it, I actually stopped cutting here. And you'll see Bells cutting those trees out around this oak tree. And as soon as she cut that tree that was right here, I felt all of that wind coming through. And what that does is, that wind probably can drop my temperature at least 5 degrees because it was kind of stagnant and kind of warm under here. And when that tree fell, I felt that wind coming. And on a really cold night, that'll let that north wind through, which is what which is why you plant your trees like behind your houses on the north side, on the south side, away from that north wind. So what I did here is I stopped, as you can see, excuse me. What I did here is I stopped. I actually just cut out just right here with the lawnmower where I'm gonna be able to plant some stuff. I still got a little bit of that evergreen canopy over my head that I can drop in another citrus or so. But here, I have some plums that's coming up right in here, but I shouldn't have cut them out because they're coming up from seed, so they're not big enough to block that wind. So I'm gonna have to deal with some of that wind coming through that I wouldn't have had to deal with had I left some of these trees in. So when you're establishing your food forest, it's always dependent upon the type of trees you're planting. I'm planting evergreen citrus trees under here, so I need my temperatures to stay a little bit on the tropical side. The more tropical, the better. So by having that windbreak, and the reason why I can't plant anything on this side, as far as over here, is because right here, I don't have an evergreen canopy. My trees right here, all these trees lose leaves in the winter. So under this live oak is basically all I have to work with as far as establishing this food forest the way I think that it should be established. So that's gonna be our second video on this mini food forest. Is making sure you establish your windbreaks, or don't take out your windbreaks if you got them. If you're cutting into some little shrubbery areas and you want to establish your food forest in an area that's kind of overrun with weeds and bushes, you may want to leave some of those weeds and bushes just until your food forest gets established where you can get something to take its place. Same thing here. Make sure you got you some sunlight coming in, because sunlight is what makes things grow. So thank y'all for watching this video, and as always, sorry I cut it out the last time, but hey, grow, grow, grow. Peace.
High five. High five. Hold on. Too rough. Too rough.